In this video, I'm going to reveal to you the exact calendar management system that I used as a high ticket closer to earn $100,000 a month in commission. My name is Josh Lyons, and as a salesperson, as a high ticket closer, I was able to build up my income to the point where I was personally taking home $100,000 a month in commission. I then went on to train top sales teams in the industry, such as Alex Hormozi's gym launch sales team. So let's crack into exactly how I was able to make that happen. The first thing you have to understand is that you can't just be a one-trick pony if you want to make serious money as a high-ticket closer. Yes, you have to be really good at sales. Yes, you have to master yourself and your life and have what I train and call internal mastery. You also have to be able to manage your calendar and manage your lead flow and manage getting the opportunities onto your calendar. So the first thing to be clear on is that if you want to really break away from the crowd, you have to focus on aligning all of these pieces. You've probably heard the phrase, when the stars align. And so when I was making $100,000 a month in straight commission, I was generating $1.12 million a year in revenue, a month in revenue for the business. I understood that I have to get all of these pieces perfect. I was on a great offer. In my opinion, I was really fucking good at sales, and I was able to maximize the number of qualified opportunities that I was taking every single day. And so let's break that down. I've got on my laptop here actually my old commission tracker with the total bookings I had per day, the total calls that I ended up taking, the total offers that I ended up making, the sales, and then the revenue. So it has Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the totals underneath. And on the right-hand side is a highlighted box that actually shows the percentages. So my show rate percentage, my offer percentage, my close percentage, and then my revenue per call. And so I want to draw your attention to 3 percentages that I just listed there that are so critical. Your show rate, how many of the calls that are taking up your time on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis actually on average turn up. The offer percentage, which is often not talked about, which is of those calls that turn up, if you're a really good closer and you know when you should make someone an offer and you know when they're just not a fit, not the typical closer that says, oh, these are bad leads. The offer percentage tells you, have I managed getting quality bookings on my calendar? And then the final percentage is close percentage. And so this is a week where in revenue, I generated 241,000. So times that by 4, just short of $1 million in a month of revenue. But every month I also had payment plans that were coming in. So this was this month, one of the weeks that turned into $102,000 to be precise of commission for me. And so what are my percentages? My first percentage here is my actual number of people that I had booked onto my calendar. And so, sorry, not a percentage, my total number of bookings. And so that was 56 total bookings for the week. So you can compare that to what you have right now. And you might think, you know, I need to get on a better offer. Or you might think, actually, I just need to get better at closing because that's roughly the same number of bookings that Josh had. And he was making probably a lot more money than me. What was my show rate? So from those bookings, 56, it turned into total calls, which was 38. You're going to be able to see this screen because I've just literally hit now screen record so you can see what I'm looking at. 56 bookings turned into 38 calls. Now, those numbers might not mean much to you. As a percentage, 68%. So my show rate was 68%. And this video specifically, once we break down the math quickly, is going to show you how I made sure that I increased that show rate up to the point where on average it was 68%. It was 65, 75, really good numbers for an offer. Then we have my offer percentage. So from those 38 total calls that I had for the week, 29 of them I made an offer to. In other words, maximally, I could have closed 29 people. I made an offer to them if I was better at closing, or some of them I made an offer and I probably shouldn't have made an offer. 29 potential sales to be made. The offer percentage was 76%. So for every 4 people that booked on my calendar and turned up, 3 of them, I thought, these people are fit. I'm going to make them an offer and attempt to close them and enroll them. 76%. My close rate, so from 29 offers, I had 25 sales. My close percentage was 86%, so pretty good. So those are the numbers. So I wanted you to see that so you have full transparency and you can really see how this math takes place. Because if you want to be a closer making a lot of money, which is built by being what I call, and my undergrad mentor call, a unicorn closer. It is not someone that is a one-hit wonder, someone who is really good at sales but sucks at managing their life and their personal life and their emotions, or decent at sales but sucks at maximizing their opportunities. That is not a unicorn. That is someone that is a one-trick pony. To make real money, this key piece in this video that I'm about to show you exactly how I made this happen, these percentages, not the close percentage because that's the training on getting better at closing, but the show rate and the offer percentage, what I'm going to show you in a minute is exactly how I made this happen. This is critical. It is impossible to make the maximum amount of money that you can make as a closer if all you focus on is sales training, or if all you focus on is personal development, or if all you focus on is calendar management. You have to nail these three pieces. Brilliant at closing, which I would say is a scriptless selling closer, someone that doesn't use a script, has the flexibility and the adaptability to close anyone that's closable. Someone that has internal mastery, they've designed their life and their psyche and their emotions and everything to operate and perform consistently at a very, very high level. And then finally, the calendar management. So those are the numbers: 68% show rate, 78% offer percentage, and 86% close percentage. So we're talking about 70 to 80% across the board. Those three numbers, those three percentages, you need to be tracking those. If you have a shit show rate, a shit offer percentage, or a shit close percentage, you need to figure out why, and then you need to put a plan in place to improve each of those three things. So let's now take a look at how I did two things: increased my show rate to the maximum that I think it could have been, and increased my offer percentage. In other words, getting qualified people on my calendar. So this is an example of what my calendar would look like. I've just put 4 bookings on here. So when a booking would come in, which was all automated, as you probably know, it would come in through a program called Schedule Once or a program called Calendly. If you use Schedule Once, doing what I'm about to teach you is a bit easier. If you do Calendly, it needs to be done by a human being. We had both of those calendar booking systems at different times on this offer. At one point we had Schedule Once, made my life very easy. Then we moved over to Calendly, and I had to actually hire a VA to do what I'm about to teach you. So just be aware, I wasn't personally doing this. I hired a VA, paid them a relatively reasonable salary a month to do all of this for me, okay? So I would get a new booking, and I set it up so that when the VA took this over, a new booking would show on my calendar as the color gray. If you don't know, in Google Calendar, which is probably the best calendar management for a closer, if you right-click the booking, as I'm doing now, you can change the color. You can then go into the settings and you can default the settings, okay? So I set all of the defaults to being gray. So a new booking would come in and it would be gray. As soon as that would come in the beginning I was doing this, later on I had a VA do this. As soon as it would come in, at certain times in the day, I or my VA would go into my calendar. It was 3 times a day when I had a VA: in the morning, in the middle of the day, and in the evening. And as soon as they saw a gray booking, so they would open up my calendar and see, right, Josh has 5 gray bookings. They would go to the details in the CRM, we used Close at the time, and they would send a text message and they would send an email. And both of those would say, got you booked in, looking forward to talking to you, give them some information, etc. Whatever your process is on your offer, they would get a text and an email to confirm the call. Key piece, you have to have a question in both the text and the email that is requesting them to confirm it. So, hey John, got you booked in for 2 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Please reply to this message to confirm so that I know that we're still good for our time. Whatever, you definitely want to do that. As soon as the text and the email was fired off, not once the person responded, just once it was sent, my VA or myself in the beginning would change the color manually. So I'd go to my Google Calendar and I would right click and I would change the color to orange. And orange for me represented the call confirmation has been sent, okay? Call confirmation has been sent. A number of hours later, and I tried different mixtures and formulas, so I'm not going to give you the exact one because I've tried different things at different times, Christmas periods, holidays, etc. Around about 24 hours later, I tried 12 hours, I tried 36 hours later, around about 24 hours later, if the person has not responded to the call confirmation text and email, my VA or myself would go in and we would do a few things. We would change the color, so we would right click in the Google Calendar and change the color to red. The most important thing is when we do that, when you right click, you can change the availability. So I would change the availability to free. You have free or you have busy. I would change it to free, which means that someone can now book over the top. And you might think, well, why do you want someone to book over the top? I figured out and hypothesized and then proved the hypothesis. I'm more likely to get someone that's a new booking to turn up to the call than I am to get someone that has already booked a call, has not responded for 24 hours to a text or an email, that is then going to just randomly just turn up to the call, or turn up to the call and be qualified is another thing. Like they might turn up, but they're not taking this seriously. So I realized I would rather call my shot to have a new booking replace over the top, and then the person that didn't reply possibly wasn't going to reply, or they're possibly going to be unqualified. You're probably now thinking, well, what happens if both turn up? Well, if the person that originally booked later on texts or emails or whatever before the call, I would just email them and be honest. And I would say, hey, John, got you booked in. Looking forward to chatting with you. I didn't hear back from you. And so I actually rebooked in someone else on the waiting list, a little bit of psychology there. and I've got them booked in. Not a problem though. Here's my calendar to rebook in a call. And I would always put this at the end. By the way, please respond to the text and the email that you get sent when you book, because I have a VA that manages my calendar, and if she doesn't get a response, your call will be canceled again. And that does a number of things. Number one, it's managing my calendar. Number two, I'm pushing that person off that wasn't really serious, which is setting the frame of like, yeah, you better take this seriously or we're not gonna have a call. Also, when I had a VA, don't say this if it's not honest, it was like, man, this is a really high value, not salesperson. It doesn't sound like a salesperson that has a VA. It sets the frame higher before I even turn up to the call, that I don't manage my own calendar. I'm very busy, have a lot of things going on, and it sets a really nice frame. So there's a lot of things going on there. I experimented later and moved that time down to 12 hours because I thought, if someone's got sent a text at 9 in the morning when they booked a call and they haven't replied by 9 p.m. at night, I'm sorry, but who is so busy that on their lunch break, if they've got a 9 to 5, can't reply to a quick text and say confirmed? It just means that they're not really that serious, most likely, or they're just too busy to take this seriously. So try 12 hours, try 24 hours, try 36 hours if you've got low lead flow quantity. If your lead flow is down, you don't want to be as aggressive on this. Then that was the red color. And then the final one is at any point, if someone confirmed, I would change the color to green. So I would go into the calendar, or the VA would go into the calendar, and I'd change it to green. So now with this color coding system, I was able to open up my calendar the night before and I was able to see, okay, I've got 3 confirmed, I've got 1 maybe, and you know, I've got a couple coming up for the week that have been sent the confirmation. So I could really easily see what was going to happen over the next days, not just total calls booking, which is very basic calendar management for most closers, but I could really see like, I have a really good up and coming few days of confirmed calls. Why is that important? Well, because at a very high level, if you're a really good salesperson and you're respected by the offer owner or the offer manager or whatever, you would be having a little bit more regular dialogue with the marketing team. And when you can actually show them a screenshot of your calendar and say, look, I've got 20 calls booked, but none of them are confirming, it's very easy to say to the marketing, hey, I think I need more leads or I need better quality leads. You have to take a proactive response as a salesperson that wants to be the top 0.001%. You can't just complain and say, oh, marketing sucks and my leads suck. What are you doing to manage your calendar to be able to have that conversation with the manager, the offer owner, but also with yourself, okay? So this color coding system would allow me to do that, but as I'm sure you figured out, most importantly, it allowed me to go from a B rate closer management system, which is I have some calls booked, some of them don't turn up, and some of them aren't qualified. 2, of the calls that are booked that haven't confirmed, I'm gonna take a shot, and it would usually be like over 50%, sometimes 75%, that would have a new booking go in over the top. And so now, if your show rate is 50%, which is actually decent sometimes, so half of your opportunity, of that 50%, half of it again, which is another 25% on the original, can be new bookings. So this could theoretically, for me, it took my percentages from 40% to 65 to 80% for show rate and offer rate. You can basically double your, I don't want to say commission, but yes, your commission, you can basically double it by managing your calendar better. Sorry, not double. You can add 50% on. So if you're making 20,000 a month, and that's with 50% of your calls showing up, if you get an extra 25%, you make 20,000 plus a new 10,000, you're now making 30,000. You haven't even gotten any better at sales. You just got better at managing your calendar. So going back to the origin of this video, can you see how, yes, you have to get better at sales. You have to get better at internal mastery and managing yourself. But you can stack an extra 10 grand from getting better at sales, 10 grand from getting better at managing your life, which is huge, and 10 grand from getting better at managing your calendar. So if you're making $20,000 a month, you can go 20, 30, 40, 50. You can jump from 20,000 to 50,000 if you get better at sales, better at mastering yourself, internal mastery, and better at calendar management without having this like exponential, oh, I'm 10 times better at sales than I was before. It's like, no, because there's 3 different pieces that you can always work on, okay? The other thing that it meant that happened to me, which was a not predicted reason for doing this, but it had a big effect, was because I was more, let's call it prideful over my time, and I was also getting more calls booked in from the people that were gonna no-show or hadn't confirmed, what it actually meant is that my frame became stronger. Like I was viewing myself as taking this really fucking seriously. Like I have to maximize my calendar opportunity because I wanna get rich. If you don't know my story at the time, I had a situation where the biggest reason that I went all in on sales was I just wanted to get fucking rich. And so by taking this so seriously, I was transferring that onto the call to the prospect. Like, I don't fuck around. And basically my frame was so strong because I took all of this so seriously. Whereas what a lot of salespeople struggle with is objections or prospects opening up or whatever. And yes, you need to get better at sales to get better at that, but actually managing your time more, being more discerning with your time, like not just giving your time to anybody that doesn't even bother to confirm a call after 24 hours. That's one of the things that starts building your internal frame and your internal character. And so I was coming to calls like really, really strong frame that I don't need you, you need me. I have a calendar full of confirmed people, and anybody that isn't confirming, I'm just pushing them away. So hopefully you can see has a massive, massive impact on your frame. So I wanted you to see how the numbers that I needed to hit in percentages on booked calls turning into showed calls, show rate, showed calls turning into offers made, so qualified, and then offers made turning into closes. How I hit those 65 to 85% percentages on all three of those was down to this calendar management. You have to take this seriously if you want to make a lot of money. If you want help with any of the other sides, it's not a quick fix like calendar management and hiring a VA. If you want to get better at internal mastery, there'll be a link somewhere below to join the Unicorn Closer Mastermind if that's the other piece once you've implemented this that you want help with. If you also want to learn scriptless selling, which is how I was able to have a, whatever I said the number was, 86% close rate that week, and that was about average, about 80 to 90% on average, you need to learn scriptless selling. I was not able to close in that week. I closed 25 sales, most of them on paid in fulls as well. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention, people always say, oh, well, maybe you made $100,000 a month because you were closing a $50,000 B2B. No, this offer, we had two offers, $9,000 and $14,000. So if we split it in the middle, 11,500 is about half. So my commission on a sale was 10%, 1,150. So it was a good offer size. It wasn't a 5K offer, but it wasn't a B2B 20K, 50K, 100K package. Forgot to mention that. So if you want to get the close percentage up, in my opinion, how I was able to make 25 sales, I could have never done that not learning scriptless selling. So if you want help with scriptless selling or internal mastery, there'll be a link somewhere below this video. I might see you inside the Unicorn Closer Mastermind. But for now, go and manage your calendar better, stack some extra cash, and then reinvest that cash into whatever you want to do to get even better. I'll see you soon.